All right. So, seventh lecture on probability. Today, we will learn about independence of events. Consider the following scenario. Continuing from the casino situation we discussed yesterday, this is a follow-up scenario. So, in front of a different screen in the same casino, you again found a hole in the curtain and discovered that the top middle light strip is not glowing. Okay, in this case, your sample space reduces to only 1 and 4. This is the top middle one I'm talking about. So this one is present in everything, every digit except only 1 and 4. Sample space reduces to only 1 and 4, out of which only 4 is even. Then your chance of winning for an even number remains at half. Okay, so the extra information did not alter the particular probability in this case. This phenomena is called independence, and we say that the event A is independent of the event C. Okay, so this A is 02468. So this was our A. This is C is my new event after we saw that the top middle light strip is not glowing. So sample space reduces to C. Hence our chance of winning for an event remains at half, and the phenomena is called independence, and we say that the event A is independent of the event C. At this point, we have to emphasize on a particular understanding. What is that? An event A is independent of another event C does not imply that the event A and C are completely unrelated. In the last example, upon the information of occurrence of C, the sample space reduced massively to the set 1, 4. So the sample space earlier was the all numbers from 0 to 9, and then after the information that C happened, so the sample space reduces hugely to 1 and 4. And so did our winning event A intersection C. So to the set only singleton set 4. But even after the extra information, the probability of A remained unchanged. This phenomena is called independence. It is not that A and C are not related or anything. A is independent. The probability of happening of A does not depend on the occurrence or non-occurrence of another event. That is independence. Clear? So mathematically, in the last example, what we had probability of A given C is equal to probability A. Forget about this part. Start from here. Probability of A given C. So we had the information that C has already occurred. That means the top middle light strip is not glowing. So we are interested in what is the probability of getting an even number after we discovered that problem with the light strip, and we found out that it is actually same as A. So this is the entire thing. Probability A given C. So C does not have any effect on the event A. Probability of A is same as probability of A given the information that C has already happened. So probability of A given C is equal to probability A only. So that is what we got from here in this example. Now if we expand this, so this is probability A intersection C by probability C is equal to probability A, and this means probability A intersection C is equal to probability A and probability C. Okay. Now this is our something to note about. Probability A intersection C is equal to probability A times probability C. We want to devise the definition of independence from here. How do we do that? Consider star this one, the last one, as an abstract relation. Okay, so abstract relation means in an abstract event space under an abstract random experiment or abstract event space, and an abstract function abstract probability function which satisfies all those axioms of probability. So consider this as an abstract relation between two events A and C, and assume probability A is positive. Then star leads to the fact that last equation leads to the fact you can divide by probability A. So then probability C intersection A by probability A is equals to probability C. That is, probability of C intersection A is equals to probability of C as well. What does this mean? This means by our discussion, we agree to call the C is independent of the event A as well. Probability of C given the probability the event A has already occurred remains unchanged. Probability of C given A is equal to probability of C. It remains unchanged. So the event C is independent of the event A. Therefore, the events A and C are mutually independent. In the we reached star by from the fact that A is independent of C, and from star, if we assume probability A is non-zero, then we can guarantee that C is independent of A as well. So therefore, if one event is independent of another event, and if we remove the trivial case, pathological case of the probabilities being zero, then the other event will be independent of the earlier event as well. If A is independent of C, then C is independent of A as well, provided, of course, probabilities are not zero. So therefore, the events A and C are mutually independent. So motivated from here, let us set the definition of independence as that relation star. Two events A and B are called independent if probability A intersection B is equals to probability A times probability B. All right. Okay. Now, another, we can also arrive at this definition from a different point of view. Okay. Not using the conditional probability. So consider the random experiment of tossing two coins simultaneously. Then any outcome of the first coin will have no effect on the outcome of the second coin whatsoever, and vice versa. These two outcomes are literally independent. Assume the probability of head in the first coin is 0.6 and that in the second coin is 0.5. Denote by A the event of getting a head in the first toss irrespective of the outcome in the second. Similarly, let B denote the event of getting a head in a second toss irrespective of the outcome in the first. Okay, according to our understanding of probability so far, in the long run, A will happen almost 60% of the times, whereas B will happen 50% of the times. Under this setup, we have the sample space is this one, HH, HT, TH, TT. A is first toss is head, and B is second toss. B is second toss is head. This will be TH, HH, TH. Okay, this is not true. This is B is HH and TH. Second toss is head. I'll rectify this. Now, if one asks the probability of getting heads in both the tosses, then common sense suggests that in 60% cases, we are already getting head in the first toss. Then in 50% cases of those 60%, we'll also have head in the second toss as well. So the required probability is 50% of 60%, that is 30%, that is 3 by 10. So there you see the probabilities gets multiplied. 5 by 10 times 6 by 10. So notice that probabilities get multiplied to find the probability of the common event. This also justifies the definition of independence. Okay. A remark. Notice that in the definition of independence of two events, the requirement of either probabilities being positive is dropped. Okay, that is the good thing about that star, that probability A intersection B is equals to probability A times probability B. That relation does not assume any non-zero probability. Okay, now application. We'll see some sums. Question 1, out of two persons A and B, A speaks truth in 75% cases and B speaks truth in 80% cases. If they speak independently, what is the probability that they will contradict each other? Okay, solution. Let us name the events properly. Let TA denote the event that A speaks the truth. TB denote that B speaks the truth, and C denote the event that A and B contradict each other. Then C is A is speaking the truth, that is TA. B is speaking the lie, that is TB complement. So in this case, they will be contradicting. One more case, they will be contradicting. A is speaking the lie and B is speaking the truth. So in this case also, they will be contradicting. So the contradiction is TA intersection TB complement union TA complement intersection TB. So this is in set theory, this is TA set minus TB, and this is TB set minus TA. Okay, since A and B speak independently, we have probability C is equals to this one. Probability of there'll be one more bracket over here. Probability of this entire thing. Okay, and that is probability A, this event plus probability B. This is the symmetric difference of the sets TA and TB, and these two things are independent. These two things are disjoint of each other. So the probability gets broken up. The events are disjoint. These two events are disjoint. That is probability TA minus TB, TB minus TA. Now, TA minus TB is TA minus probability TA intersection TB. This thing we had seen in the first set of exercises. Probability TA minus TB is probability TA minus probability TA intersection TB. Okay, and same thing over here using actions of probability. Okay, and that is probability TA plus probability TB minus probability 2 times probability TA intersection TB. But since they are independent, this is probability TA into probability TB. Probability T intersection TB will be probability TA times probability TB. Now you plug in the numbers, you get the required probability is 0.35. So that is the something a bit shocking that A speaks truth 75%, B speaks truth 80%, but I mean they are quite truthful as a person, but look at the probability they will contradict each other. 35% they will contradict each other. Okay, so that is something quite shocking as a number. Fine. Next question. If A and B are independent events, show that the pairs of events, all these pairs, A and B complement, A complement B, and A complement B complement are also independent. Solution? Easy one. A and B are independent, so we have probability A intersection B is probability A times probability B. Then probability A intersection B complement is probability A minus T set minus B is probability A minus probability A intersection B equal to probability A minus probability A into probability B is equals to probability A into 1 minus probability B taking common is equals to probability A into probability B complement. Okay, simple this thing manipulation. Proofs of the other pairs are left as exercise. Now something you must be realizing over here that it is not only this simple manipulation. It also says that if A and B are independent events, then A and B complement will also be independent. What do I mean here? If occurrence of A does not influence the occurrence of chance of occurrence of B, then it will not also influence the chance of occurrence of B complement as well. Okay, that is more organic way of thinking this, organic way of convincing yourself that A is not affecting B at all, so A must not be affecting B complement at all. Similarly, B will not affect A complement at all. Okay, A complement will not be affecting B complement at all. So these things are sort of should be true. These things should be true. Okay, and this is just a mathematical feel that these things are true, but our common sense says that these things must be true. If we cannot show that these things are true, then there should be some problem with our theory so far. Proofs of the other pairs are left as exercises. Next question. In an examination, 30% of the students failed in mathematics, 15% failed in chemistry, and 10% failed in both mathematics and chemistry. A student is selected at random, not as will not be there. A student is selected at random. If he has failed in chemistry, what is the probability that he passed in mathematics? He has failed in both mathematics and chemistry. Solution. Let N and C be the events that the randomly selected students failed in mathematics and chemistry respectively. Then it is given that probability of N is 0.3, 30% of students failed in mathematics. Probability of C is 0.15, 15% failed in chemistry. And probability M intersection C is 0.1, 10% failed in both maths and chemistry. Hence, probability of M complement given C, that means the student has failed in chemistry. Now we are trying to find out the probability of that student passing in mathematics. So M complement, probability of M complement given C. Okay, so this is probability of M complement given intersection C by this one definition. This is probability C. This is probability. This is M complement intersection C is C set minus M. So this is probability C minus probability C intersection M. Plug in the values. You get 1/3. Probability M given C is probability M given M intersection C by probability C, that is 1/2. Okay, simple thing. All right. Next is Monty Hall problem. Reality game show. YN. A participant is called at the stage where there are closed doors. There are 3 closed doors. Behind one door, there is a jackpot to be won. Behind the other 2 doors, there is nothing. The participant is asked to guess a door to win the prize. She chooses one door, and in this case, the probability of her winning the jackpot is 1/3. The anchor of the show, who by the way knows the prized door, now introduces a twist in the plot. Instead of opening the door chosen by the participant, she opens another door. The door the anchor opens is chosen in the following way. If the door chosen by the participant has the prize behind it, the anchor opens any one door from the remaining 2 randomly. Otherwise, if the door chosen by the participant does not have the prize behind it, the anchor opens the only other door which does not have the prize behind it. Of course, the anchor will never open the prize door. Then all the suspense is gone. The participant also knows that. The anchor gives a final chance to the participant. Do you want to change your choice? So after the participant sees that behind another door, another closed door, there is nothing there, then the participant gets another choice, another chance. Do you want to change the choice of the door? So she has only one more door left to choose. She has already chosen one door, and out of those remaining 2 doors, the anchor has opened one and shown that there is nothing behind it. So there is only one door remain to choose. So the question is it wiser to switch your choice? Switch your choice to the other door or stick to your original choice? That is the question. The solution. The participant has 2 options here. Either to stick to the first choice or to choose the only remaining door. Let us calculate probabilities for each. Let A, understand this thing, let A denote the event that the door chosen at first has the prize, and B denote the event that the door showed by the anchor does not have a prize. Okay, so B denote the event that the door showed by the anchor does not have the prize. Okay, this B is a sure event. Probability of B is equal to 1. B is a sure event. Still we are considering this. So because this is what is happening, B is happening. So let A denote the event that the door chosen, the first door chosen has the prize, and B denotes that the act of the anchor. Sorry, the act of the anchor. So denotes the event that the door showed by the anchor does not have the prize. We want to find the answer to this question. Which is greater? Given B is probability of sticking to the first choice of the door, is this probability bigger, or changing your choice, a complement, is bigger? We know that probability A is 1/3 because the participant chose the door at the first, in the first round pretty randomly, so it is 1/3. And probability B is 1. B is a sure event. Now let us calculate these two things. These two things will require to find out these two probabilities, A intersection B and A complement intersection B. Fine. We know that A can be written as A intersection B union A intersection B complement. Okay, so there is some part of A with B and some part of A with not with B. So taking all those two things together, we constitute the entire A. So A is equal to A intersection B union A intersection B complement. Fine. Then probability of A will be sum of these individual probabilities. These two are disjoint events. Then probability A intersection B plus 0. This probability is 0. Why? This probability is definitely non-negative by the axioms. Probabilities are non-negative, so 0 less than or equal to probability of this one. Now this probability must be less than or equal to probability of B complement. This is a subset of B complement A intersection BC. So probability this is less than probability B. So now probability B complement is 0 because probability B is 1. So this probability has no other option but to be 0. Probability of A intersection B complement. Okay, so probability A is probability A intersection B. So intersection B, probability A intersection B is 1/3. Therefore, we get the first answer to the first probability, the probability A given B. If you stick to your choice of the first door, that is 1/3. Okay, probability A intersection B by probability B, that is 1/3 by over 1, that is 1/3. Again, B can be written in the exact same way. So probability B is probability B intersection A and B intersection A complement. Now, so I want this one, B intersection A complement. So A complement intersection B, this one over here is probability B minus probability A intersection B. So that is 1 minus 1/3, that is 2/3. So therefore, probability A complement given B is 2/3 over 1, that is 2/3. So if you change your choice, your probability of winning is going to be double. So it is always wise to change the choice of the door in the final call. This is the solution to Monty Hall problem.